In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this cute little mini Gerbera daisy. But before we do, let me talk a little bit about the paper I've used. After years of designing and making paper flowers, I have found that my all-time favorite paper is this lightweight frosted paper. So I am so excited that we are introducing 6 new packs just for you. Each pack is 12 by 12 and there are 4 colors and 5 sheets each. We've arranged them in the conifer pack, succulent pack, the stone fruit, the berries, the citrus, and the melons. So let's get started making this flower. For the Gerbera daisy, I have picked the orange color out of the citrus pack. Now, Gerbera daisies come in so many colors, so you can choose almost any of the brighter colors for this flower. And I have cut out 3 of the larger petals, and then there are 8 of the centers. And this is all out of the one color. I also have the actual center of the flower, which is in a green. You can also cut that in a yellow if you want to. And then the back and 2 leaves. And this is all I need to cut. I've cut it out on my cutting machine. If you want to cut it out by hand, you can do that too. The first thing I'll do is shape my petals. So I'm going to use my curling tool, and I'll use the edge here that's sharp. I'm going to start with my largest petal set. I'll place them in my hand and use the edge of this curling tool to press into the center. And I'll show you what that looks like. This almost gives a scoring look. You can see how it's making the petal curve. And you'll want to go ahead and do that to all 3 sets of your petals. There's 1 set. And as I'm doing this, you'll notice that the flower petals kind of crease upward, which is perfect. If you don't have a curling tool, you can use the edge of your scissors, or maybe even a ruler or something that's flat and has a bit of a sharper edge. So all 3 sets are done. Now for the inside petals, this is actually the inside of the Gerbera daisy. I'm not using that method. I'm actually using the edge of my curling tool and just very gently rolling that along that edge to give it a curl. You don't want to tug it so much. You don't want to tear these off. So the method I find works really well is just to roll my thumb along with the paper, and this gives it such a beautiful curl. I have these laid out in sizes, so they are larger to smaller, and this will help me when I'm ready to assemble. Now, if something happens and you do tear off one of your little tiny petals, you can just glue that right back on, and it's not going to show because we will be stacking all of these. And the last thing we're going to do is make some scoring marks and then give some shape to our leaves. So again, use the edge of the scoring tool or the curling tool, and I'll just press that right into the center of each of the 3 leaves to give it some shape, and then use the method of running it along my thumb to give it some extra shape. And I'll do that to both. And now we're ready to assemble. I have a hot glue gun here, and this is the Gerbera with a very fine point. And this is my favorite hot glue gun when I'm using this frosted paper because I know it's really going to stick. So I'll start with the larger petals, put just a dot in the center, and then place the next layer on the top. Now you'll notice that they get smaller, and I'll just offset it just a little bit because we have 3 sets, so we don't want to offset it completely, in the center of the gap, because we have 1 more set that we want to place in there. And then offset that again, so it looks like this. And that's all the petals. For the center, I'll do the same thing where I will place just a bit of glue. And since there's 2 of each side, you can go ahead and offset that about half and half. So you'll just keep layering these pieces from the largest to the smallest. And watch out for those hot glue strings, they'll grab onto things. You can take them off when you're done. And I'll just place one inside the other just to give it a nice layer fringe effect. And you can see how pretty that fringe is. And once you have those assembled, you'll go ahead and place this circle in the center. Now, Gerbera daisies, they have different color circles. Sometimes they're green, sometimes they're yellow, sometimes they're black. So it's just really up to you on what color you want each of your flowers to have. I'll place that in the center, and then I'll just use my fingers to fluff it up a bit. Place some glue on the back and put that on the center of my petals. Now, if you're using this for a card or a piece of artwork and you want it flat, you're pretty much done. You can add the leaves however you'd like. But if you want to put it on a stem, here is a piece that will go on the back behind the flower that will hold the stem. So I will add just a bit of glue on one of those points right on the edge and then create this cone. I have an 18 gauge wire, which is pretty stiff. It's not going to bend too easily. And it is covered with paper. It's a paper covered wire that we really love using these. I don't need the whole wire, so I'm going to cut it in half and give myself almost, I would say, about a 30-degree angle, because you'll notice that this is also curved. Now, if you left yourself just a little gap at the base, you can just slide that wire right down the stem so that you have this little hook on the top. Put quite a bit of hot glue right into that cavern, into that area, and then we're going to place it on the back of the Gerber daisy. And I'll just hold that here until it cools. The hot glue takes a bit longer, so you'll really want to make sure that's secure. And once that's cool, you can go ahead and bend the head. You'll notice that most Gerber daisies do face forward, they don't face upwards, so you can bend the head and then use that in your arrangement. For the leaves, there's several things you can do. You can take that other part of the wire and glue two of them, one on each side, which is what I would probably do. Most Gerber daisies don't actually have leaves on their stems, so this is a better method. However, if you are putting it into a bouquet and want to make sure that the leaves are right there with your flower, you can go ahead and glue it right under the head as well. So I've glued that one on each side. That will secure it really well. And then I can just arrange that in my bouquet. This is such a simple flower to make, and there's something about Gerber daisies that just say happy to me. So I think the more the merrier. So you can find your pattern. We have both an SVG cut file if you have a cutting machine, or there's also a PDF if you want to cut it by hand. Go ahead and download those, and let's make some gorgeous Gerber daisies.